Every day, women and girls are abused, tortured, and suffer discrimination. Gender-based violence is an acknowledged human rights abuse. In spite of this, violence against women and girls continues. In some countries, it is on the increase. The perpetrators of gender-based violence are often in positions of power and trust. The issue is shrouded in silence, impunity, and complacency. Tackling gender-based violence is a challenge for all of us. If we know it exists, and if we tolerate or ignore it, we are complicit in a human rights abuse. The time has come for action. Gender-based violence is a global issue. % of all crimes committed in Dili were violence against women in 2001. 14% of GDP comes from prostitution and sex trafficking. 80% of Sri Lankan refugees are women and children. There are close to 15,000 dowry deaths estimated per year. Mostly they are kitchen fires designed to look like accidents. 20,000 to 50,000 women were raped during 5 months of conflict in 1992. 75% of women in Liberia were raped during the conflict. 5,000 cases of rape, an average of 40 a day, were recorded in the Uvira area by women's associations since October 2002. This does not include unreported rapes. 67% of women who survived rape during the 1994 genocide are HIV positive. 811 women, mainly from East Europe, were freed from white slavery rings in 2002. 2/3 of them were violently forced into prostitution. 50,000 women and children are trafficked in each year, primarily from Latin America, Russia, and other East European countries and Southeast Asia. Every 14 days, a Colombian woman is a victim of forced disappearance. Violence against women and children is a result of gender inequality and the imbalance of power relations. Gender-based violence happens when a woman's right to equality, liberty, and security, and the right to be free from discrimination, torture, and degrading and inhuman treatment are violated systematically over a long period of time. Men and boys can also suffer gender-based violence.
Roxana takes a rest while waiting for clients alongside a main road in Managua, Nicaragua. She is 15 years old and works as a prostitute to help her family. Her father left the family home when she was 9. Her 60-year-old mother is a diabetic. Roxana had been sexually abused when she was younger. This is her story. I was raped when I was 13 by 2 guys. I had to stay at home for a month after the rape. We needed the money. We were so in debt that I decided to go to the streets. 2 months after I started working, my mother asked me how I earned the money. I told her. She agreed there was no alternative. Now I go out every night.
Violence against women and girls has been an integral element of armed conflict throughout history. It is systematically used as a weapon of war and is on the increase, especially in parts of Africa.
At dawn, there are those who risk getting out. It's the women who go. They leave the camps quietly, desperate to get firewood to cook with. Without firewood, they can't eat their food aid. They go in the knowledge that if they're seen by the government's militia, they may be attacked. This is Katra. She's fled to a camp called Kebkabia. She showed us its perimeters. This dry riverbed marks the invisible boundary beyond which she can't safely go.
I'm frightened. I can't cross the riverbed by myself. The enemy is there with their horses and camels. They are there every day. I feel like I'm in prison, in a cage. This town is like a prison.
Is it people like those men crossing now?
Yes, those are the people who frighten me. They have no mercy in them. They beat us badly.
Why do people risk it if it's so dangerous?
What can we do? We have no choice, even though it's dangerous. We don't have any money to buy firewood, so we have to go get it ourselves. We need to cook to live.
Katra fled here with her niece Miriam after their village was burnt down a year ago. They do get food aid now. The government has let aid through, but she has to share her rations with another family. Katra's other niece, who's 8, is sick with malaria. They have no medicine. Now they're running short of firewood to cook with, but they vowed never to leave this camp again. A few days ago, Miriam and Katra crossed the riverbed when 5 men surrounded them.
We went to get the firewood at 8 in the morning. Suddenly we were surrounded by men. They started asking us, "Where are you good for, women?" and calling us donkeys. They asked where the rebels were. They started hitting us. We tried to resist and defend ourselves, but they threatened us with knives.
How many men were carrying out the rape?
4 of them raped me, and 3 raped the girl. 7 men.
Miriam's attack was the most brutal. Her aunt said it was because she was younger. She's 13 years old. She can barely walk. The men tied her up. They took it in shifts to rape her. They also whipped her severely.
It's painful if I move. It's hard to move.
Miriam also lost half her family when her village was attacked.
We must all play a part in tackling gender-based violence. Be aware of gender-based violence. Coordinate and cooperate with other aid, humanitarian and human rights agencies. Engage with local communities, particularly women's groups. Develop program responses in areas such as health, security, counseling and legal resources. Ensure sustained budgets to tackle gender-based violence. As knowledge emerges and confidence grows, a more systematic approach must be adopted to tackle gender-based violence.
Today I took part in a very interesting launch of a global report on gender-based violence, looking at Darfur, looking at all the very difficult areas, but also looking at the fact that this has never been enough of a priority. And I sat with friends in Concern, in Trócaire, in Oxfam in Ireland, at Christian Aid, and they said we need to do more. Very honestly, we actually haven't taken gender-based violence seriously enough. Ireland is going to give a leadership on gender-based violence.